in their starched white shirts and black bow ties, were dressed more formally than she was. Hell, she'd driven 16 hours from Chicago to Boston with everything she owned stored in her back seat and trunk, and she'd barely had time to unpack. So damn it, she hadn't had time to dry clean her Christian Dior dress or find her Manolo Blahniks. Shucks. Okay, no problem. Skating past security had been a foreseeable stumble block. I got this. Mentally rolling her shoulders, she plastered on her best little girl lost expression and added a dose of sheepishness that would have made her father, a stellar con artist, give a proud fist bump. "Can I help you?" the suit asked, suspicion coloring his tone. "Would you, please?" She made a show of glancing around her, wincing. "I'm supposed to meet my friend here to give her a ride home from work? Sarah. She's with the catering crew. Do you know her?" She palmed her cell and pretended to scroll through her address book for Sarah's phone number. "I'm certain she told me to meet her at 8. "Dinner's just about over, miss," he said. After giving her another head-to-toe scan, he glanced over her shoulder toward the crowded ballroom and then returned his attention to her. At least the distrust had disappeared, replaced by what seemed like impatience and more than a little irritation. "You can't stand here. The auction is about to start." He waved a hand toward the exit behind him. "The kitchen entrance is this way and down the hall. You can wait for her by that door." "Okay, great," Noelle chirped, pouring feigned relief into her voice. "Thank you." He nodded and stood guard, watching as she backtracked out of the ballroom and strode down the corridor. The watchdog waited until she reached the swinging set of double doors, where noises of clanging pans and shouted orders emanated, before he returned to his post. And as soon as he disappeared from view, she retraced her steps. This time, however, she didn't park it in front of the entrance like a dumbstruck ninny. Slinking to the side, she leaned against a wall next to a couple of towering plants that could have doubled as trees. Their shadows provided nice coverage where she could watch and hopefully not be seen. A moment later, unbelievably cheesy music that wouldn't have been out of place on The Young and the Restless rolled through the room. She snorted, scooting forward and peering out between the trees. With all the money floating around this room, they could have at least sprung from music from the 21st century. "Welcome to the Rhodonite Society's 11th annual Masquerade Bachelor Auction," a slender blonde in a gold, tight-as-a-gnat booty dress announced as she strolled to the center of the stage at the far end of the room. A bachelor auction? What the hollowed fuck? She shook her head. This is what Aiden did? Who he'd become? Maybe he'd been so long removed from the poor South Side Chicago neighborhood they'd grown up in that silly, self-aggrandizing events like bachelor auctions had become the norm. "And welcome to a wonderful night filled with fun and luxurious once-in-a-lifetime dates, courtesy of 10 of Boston's most handsome, eligible bachelors. Every penny of the proceeds will benefit the Blake Literacy Foundation, which raises awareness of illiteracy as well as providing programming, tutoring, and technology to Boston's underprivileged youth." Uh-huh. Every penny right after fees, expenses, and whatever else the charity could trump up were deducted. Applause, chatter, and a few whistles filled the room, because these people were so gung-ho about the idea of stamping out illiteracy. "So, without further ado, here is your first bachelor." Blondie eased out of the spotlight as a man in a black tuxedo and a white mask strutted out of the wings and paused center stage. With one hand in his pants pocket and a hip slightly cocked like a wannabe Abercrombie and Fitch model, he radiated arrogance. Noelle didn't need to see his face behind the disguise concealing his features. Handsome or not, it was clear this guy thought he was the shit. "Our first bachelor considers himself a risk-taker," Blondie announced. "Whether it's in the conference room, on the slopes, on the racetrack, or in love, he doesn't play it safe."